searching deep into our ancestry and into our past. We, as the human race, have sprouted from the same seed. We walked our planet hand in hand, developing our mark that we would someday leave behind us. As time went on, our roots grew deeper and they led us to adventurous places. These roots tangled and carried us across continents. New ideas, new religions, and new languages all became part of our bark. The tangles and crossroads of life, they have never ceased, and they have brought us to our current day. This long journey has brought our world a beautiful diversity. But, unfortunately, walking hand in hand is not as effortless as it once was. Our world has seen hurt, it has seen tragedy, and an undeniable loss of human connection. Our bark is chipping away, and our roots no longer bind us, as we are the fallen apples from our once mighty tree. After we all perish, is this the mark we really wanted to leave? Is this the place that we wanted to land? The roots that connect us are only damaged, but are not dead. They might be begging for life and are far from repair, but there is nothing that time cannot change. After all, that is how we grew into the place that we are today. With empathy and thoughtfulness, we will heal, but we must heal together. We all grew from the same seed and have the same blood coursing through our veins. We may have different religions, different languages, different colored skin, but we all belong to one human race. Alright, so first we are going to start off by making the face mask. This is just a craft store mask. It was about $2 or so. I have also prepared some flour in a dish. This flour we are going to use to make liquid latex paste, but first I'm grabbing an empty bowl and pouring liquid latex into it. This mixture is going to be very chunky, very textured, and very much like tree bark. So I'm just pouring in that flour and then I'm going to mix it with a fork. I'm going to continue this back and forth, pouring a little latex, pouring a little flour until I get the consistency that I want. You want this to be very chunky and very stiff so then we can apply this to the mask and it's not going to drip all over the place. Next is the super fun part where we're going to put the paste onto the mask. Now, I kind of ditched the fork idea because it was very, very, very hard to get the paste on the mask with a fork. So I just resorted to using my fingers. This is super messy and probably very unnecessary, but it was easiest for me. I also found that as I was smoothing it out, if I applied liquid latex to my fingertips before I smoothed out the mask, it made my fingers glide a lot easier over the chunky liquid latex, so I would definitely recommend coating your fingers with liquid latex. Now that I have the mask completely filled with liquid latex, I'm grabbing twigs that I pulled off a branch from outside. I'm shoving it into the top of the liquid latex, taking a little bit more paste, putting it over the top of the branch, and moving on to the next one. So here you can see I'm shoving it into the liquid latex, taking the liquid latex up over the branch, smoothing it over, and then letting it be. Now that I have all of my branches secured, I'm taking my fork and raking it in vertical lines. This is just creating more texture and more of a tree-like bark look. So I let my mask dry for about a day and a half, and this is what it will look like once it is dry. It is a little bit brown in color, but that's okay because we're going to paint it brown anyway. For the paint job, I am pouring a dark brown and a light brown. I am first taking the dark brown shade and painting the entire mask. So that means any white spots, anything that's already has latex on it, we are painting the whole thing dark brown. Now that we are painted dark brown, I'm dipping into the light brown and lightly grazing over the bumps. I do not want to cover the whole thing in light brown. I just want the bumps to be coated with a light brown color. And as you can see here, this is what it looks like at the end when you're done painting. Finally, I'm taking a moss green color. I'm just going to take my paintbrush and lightly dab this over certain areas of the mask. I want the mask to appear as if there is moss growing on the tree, so you can see that I'm just lightly dabbing little green colors all over the place. Alright, so this is our completed mask, and I'm going to let this sit and dry for a few hours. Alright, so this part does take a little bit of patience, but I assembled some moss in a kind of a teardrop shape, and then I'm taking my hot glue gun and I'm running hot glue over the moss. Now, what you need to know is that moss is in tiny little bitty pieces, so running the hot glue over the back of this piece is connecting all those little pieces together. So you really need to make sure that you're connecting all those pieces by exhausting your hot glue gun. Now that our hot glue is dry, I'm going to be taking some twigs and I'm going to shove this in the circle part of our teardrop. I have about 3 to 4 twigs and I'm just shoving those down. You do not want the twigs to be too long because these are going to go over our chest, and as you bend and try to move around, your twigs will snap if they're too long. So I would suggest either breaking the twigs off so that they're short or picking very small twigs. You will be making 2 of these. They will be identical. When we apply them, they will be facing different directions. However, these will be identical. Next, I have 4 very, very long eucalyptus stems. I will be taping them together with tape, so the top of one and the bottom of the other. I'm going to be connecting all 4 stems together like this to make one large chain of eucalyptus stems. I would say that I made this about the length from the floor to my shoulders, so make sure it matches your height. Next, we're going to be making a ring that will attach to our foot. I just curved one end of the eucalyptus stem onto itself and taped it. This will go around your foot, so make sure it fits. Now that we're done preparing everything, we are on to the fun part. I will be painting myself. You need to make sure that you are in clothes that you don't really care about. I'm going to be painting my front, my back, my legs, my thighs. Everything you got is going to be painted. Next, I want to point out you want your hair slicked back, no earrings, no rings, no deodorant. Oh girl, you're going to smell. No, just kidding. You don't want any lotion or anything like that. Alright, so I am taking a brown eyeliner pencil. I am mapping out the tree rings. Tree rings are very long at the ends and very skinny towards the center, so you want to make sure that you are drawing realistic rings. I will be doing this every single time I am drawing the knot in the tree, and you will see me do this continually, but how I am doing this is just with an eyeliner pencil. Very easy, very simple, but kind of tedious. The first paint I will be using is a water-activated light brown paint. I have 3 variations of colors, a light, a medium, and a dark color. I will be picking out different spaces to fill in with light brown. I will not be filling in light brown continually, but I will be picking out different areas that need to be filled in and filling them in with different colors so that there's variation of the tree rings. So one ring might be light brown, the next might be medium, and the one after that will be dark so that all the rings are different colors. Now that we've filled up with the light brown color, I'm going in with the medium brown water activated paint, and again I'm just picking random spaces to fill in with medium brown color, making it variated so that not 2 medium browns are together, and I'm going to do this throughout my stomach and I will be back. Moving on to the dark water activated paint, we're doing the same exact process where we are filling in blank spaces and moving on to the next one, kind of spreading them out. This reminds me of a coloring book where you basically already have the lines in, now you have to color it. This is super easy and you can pretty much do this mindlessly. So basically that's all there is to it. This is really simple. I'm going to go through and fill up my entire body with all of this paint. This is going to take a little bit, but we can do it, and let's go. Even though I'm trying to show off my face and you can't even see it, I'm going to be taking the 2 little moss pads that we made. One is going to be facing up and the other one will be facing down. I'm attaching these with liquid latex. Grabbing our eucalyptus leaf, we are going to be wrapping this around our leg and attaching it to our foot. So you can see that I took the end and slipped it on my foot, wrapped it around my legs a few times, and took the top and slipped it in my waistband just to keep it in place. After putting my wig on, I did make a chain of stapled synthetic leaves. I just put the leaves next to each other, stapled them, and we will be attaching them with liquid latex. So I'm going to first have the point of attachment be on the back of my neck. Be very careful with the liquid latex on the back of your neck. You do not want to wax any of those baby hairs, but then you can see how I'm going to be wrapping it around the arm. Again, this will be attached with liquid latex. Just use the latex very sparingly because in these regions you do have hair. You do not want to wax your arms or the back of your neck. Be very careful. This is the end of our makeup look. I did slip on a wig and the mask over the top of the wig to take some photographs, but here we are done and looking fine. Bye, beauties.